So graduates, it's one of my greatest honors to serve as your dean, and there's nothing better than coming together to celebrate your meaningful accomplishments. And I also want to reference what Dean Lucio mentioned earlier. We know that none of us can do this alone, so I also want to add my thanks to your village of supporters and to the Watts College faculty and staff who helped prepare you for this very important moment. At the Watts College of Public Service and Community Solutions, we talk a lot about this important but what is sometimes an elusive concept known as community. Now, the term is, after all, in the name of our college, so we think it's pretty important. And so I would therefore like to take just a few moments to focus on what it means and why it matters to be a part of something bigger than ourselves. Now, intuitively, everyone in this arena knows the value of human relationships. And yet, as we look across our nation and beyond, the experience of being in community is to some extent eroding. In fact, Dr. Vivek Murthy, the former Surgeon General of the United States, calls the loss of community one of the defining challenges of our time. During his tenure, his work uncovered a concerning trend. He found, to some extent, the fracturing sense of community in America as fueling not only illness, but for some, despair on an individual level. And he also cites the impact of this concern as adding to pessimism and distrust across our society. So what is the cause of these very serious, both human and systems level concerns? It is a simple yet profound answer. What is missing is our sense of community and our connection to one another. Now, we know that technology is a powerful tool that can facilitate connection. However, we have to recognize that it can at times also be corrosive. And the ubiquitous use of cell phones has pushed us away from being in relationships that are not mediated through some form of technology. And then, of course, we had the pandemic that in some ways sort of quickly escalated and exacerbated that sense of disconnection or isolation. So the reduction of human interaction and its negative impact on our health is now actually pretty well documented. So while these concerns are things we must take serious, I know that the graduates of the Watts College know exactly how to respond to this emerging trend. You see, if our loss of meaningful human contact is causing rising physical and mental health concerns or division in our society, then what is to be done? What is the cure? So Dr. Murthy is telling us that the cure for what ails us, the treatment for loneliness, the antidote for division, is to design, join, and be a part of community. In fact, community is the cure. Now, we may use different words to define community, but at its core, community is a group of people who are connected through a shared experience. And that experience could be things like being geographic, in other words, neighbors that might be living in the same physical area or region. Community can also be as a result of a shared purpose, such as the employees, students, and partners of the Watts College who are advancing our mission. Or it could be strangers who support the same sports team and yet feel an instant connection when they see another person wearing a t-shirt highlighting a team they also support. All of these examples demonstrate one of my favorite concepts, the idea that we all long to belong. We all long to belong. The connections we build and maintain do not just add value to our lives. We now know that those relationships are actually basic needs that must be met. In other words, relationships and our connection to a or several communities is the treatment for all that ails us. Understanding the importance of community is really good news for our graduates today. This conclusion should provide you a great deal of encouragement, considering that what you have done and you're now also prepared to do as public servants, your acts of service, are more important than ever before. Serving others is not just good for them. I would suggest this afternoon that it's actually essential to their well-being. And I also have more good news for you all. Whether through a professional position in public service, a decision to volunteer or serve, or even through small acts of kindness, serving others is actually good for your health and your well-being as well. So I agree with our former Surgeon General. Community is indeed the antidote for what ails us as individuals and as a nation. Community in a democratic society like ours is one that's grounded in the shared ideal that all people have inherent worth and dignity, that all people are valued, and that all perspectives are worthy of consideration. Now, this is not easy to do. It requires things like civil discourse, empathic listening, critical thinking, and a commitment to executing what it means to be a free society. It requires reaching out to others who may not always agree with you, and it requires focusing on the we rather than the me. There is no one better to deliver on this objective of moving from the me to the we than the graduates of the Watts College of Public Service and Communities. And let's have a round of applause for our graduates. I say this at every graduation, and I'll say it again, that whenever I start to feel discouraged, our students provide me the encouragement and the hope that I need to keep going. I have great confidence in our future because the graduates here today have the skills, they have the passion, they have the energy, and they have the commitment to realize the dream of what a just and effective democracy can be. So please go out and develop healthy, engaged communities that can solve the very problems we face today. Graduates, our future is now, in many ways, in your hands. Congratulations.